During the Gilded Age, a great expansion of business took place. Industrial industries saw more growth than other sectors. Areas such as oil production and railroad companies experienced incredible gain, which equals lots of money. But with all of the money came plenty of corruption and shady business practices. It wasn't uncommon to see monopolies or customer abuse during the Gilded Age. But the Gilded Age did spur the interest in a laissez-faire type of government in the U.S. Laissez-faire is a way a government handles business and the economy. Simply put, it was a hands-off approach. The government would let companies and their consumers conduct themselves in whichever manner they want. No tariffs, subsidies, or intrusive restrictions would be placed on companies by the government. Only regulations to protect property rights. Adam Smith was an avid preacher of the greatness of laissez-faire in his writing, The Wealth of Nations. He proclaimed businesses' freedom from the government benefited everybody, which in some ways is true. But if we remember that the opposite of laissez-faire is communism, and only the Ruskies believe in communism, and the Ruskies are evil. Go capitalism. A monopoly is where one company or entity has control of nearly an entire market. They have the power to regulate prices as much as they want, as there is no competition, which during the Gilded Age was bad because prices on things like oil were high. Standard Oil was the largest monopoly of the time. An example of a monopoly is Google. A conglomerate is a corporation of multiple companies, usually of unrelated business fields, that merge together to form a new company. The Gilded Age saw this frequently as it eliminated competition and put more money in businessmen's pockets. A few modern examples may be Comcast, Viacom, or Johnson Family Enterprises. A trust is a relationship whereby property is held by one party for the benefit of another. A trust is created by a settler who transfers some or all of her property to a trustee. A holding company is a company or firm that owns other companies' outstanding stock. This usually refers to a company that does not produce goods or services itself, but its purpose is to own shares of other companies to form a corporate group. Andrew Carnegie was a Scottish man who built one of the largest companies of the Gilded Age, Carnegie Steel Company. Carnegie ruled the steel industry, which was growing at an alarmingly fast rate. He eventually sold Carnegie Steel to J.P. Morgan for $350 million. Andrew then pursued a philanthropic career. John D. Rockefeller was a very prominent businessman in the Gilded Age. He created the near-monopoly Standard Oil, which essentially cornered the oil market. But because of his shady business practice, the government passed anti-monopoly laws. Standard Oil went under after the laws were passed, but Rockefeller was still rich beyond comparison. So who was the real winner here? Rockefeller. That's who won. J.P. Morgan used his influence to help stabilize American financial markets during several economic crises, including the Panic of 1907. However, he faced criticism that he had too much power and was accused of manipulating the nation's financial system for his own gain. His success as a businessman can still be seen today, as there is modern-day financial company in his name. Henry Ford is one of the most famous names in all of business. Not only did he create one of the most successful car companies on earth, but he also changed the way workers worked in America. In the aspect of cars, Ford made cars affordable for the average American with the Model T. Over 15 million Model Ts were built, and a large portion were sold as they were cheaper than any other car. In the aspect of business, for improved working conditions for all, created a 40-hour work week, essentially innovated the assembly line and ordered benefits for his workers. His mark on American business will last forever. What's important to remember from the Gilded Age is that even though corruption and greed were prevalent, miles of progress were made in the business sector. Go capitalism, go America.